light. Shadows creep and crawl with every scream. Hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness, it's a metal night.
Hello once again, everybody. Wildman Wes here, and welcome to day 20 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. When I think about some of the horror meisters that I have reviewed films on, there's one in particular that I haven't given enough love for or hate for, and that's Wes Craven. Wes Craven is well known for the Nightmare on Elm Street series, as well as other movies like People Under the Stairs, Serpent in the Rainbow, Shocker, Swamp Thing, yada yada yada. We know. Not to mention, of course, the popular Scream franchise. However, today we're going to be talking about Wes Craven's 1986 film, Deadly Friend. This was adapted from a story called Friend by Diana Henstall, and the story is about a young boy named Paul who is a robot and computer whiz, and he is going to a school called Polytech after he moves into a new town with his mom, and he befriends his next door neighbor Samantha, who seems a little timid because she has a father that's not the nicest person. That's the best way I can say this right now without getting in trouble. Paul also has to deal with a really not so nice neighbor named Elvira Parker. She's the type of neighbor that has the fence around the entire house, and let's say you're playing outside and a ball goes over the fence. Well, guess what? You ain't getting it back. She is very mean. While Paul is getting settled into his new surroundings, he also has a robotic friend known as BB that is very intelligent and does a lot of fun things and befriends Samantha as well as some of the other neighborhood kids. And unfortunately, as Paul and Samantha form more of a bond, it almost becomes romantic. Samantha's father finds out that she's been hanging out with Paul when he doesn't want her to, and Samantha has an unfortunate accident by him knocking her down the stairs. And after that happens, she's on life support, Paul is distraught, and he feels he needs to help her out. And the best way that he can help her out is by taking the CPU chip from BB and placing it into Samantha's brain to help her sustain some form of life. Now, that sounds good on paper, however, earlier in the movie, when BB is dealing with some of the bullies that Paul is having to deal with as well, BB starts to get a little violent, starts to get aggressive. And you find out that BB doesn't like bullies. And Samantha, also being with BB's mind meld, doesn't like a lot of mean people either, and wants to get some revenge on the people that have done Paul wrong. And one of them being Elvira Parker, with a hilarious and ridiculous death involving a basketball to the head. Paul eventually sees the error of his ways and decides he needs to stop Samantha/BB once and for all, especially when the authorities show up after the death of Miss Parker, and she gets shot by the authorities, and Paul takes her to the morgue where Samantha eventually starts to become BB to the point of becoming a complete robot, and Paul has to destroy her. That's Deadly Friend in a nutshell. We're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this film now. This film has a lot of dark humor moments, especially when it comes to the concept of technology and even to the concept of AI. And the robot BB has almost a hybrid resemblance between Johnny Five from Short Circuit as well as the robot from Rocky IV. I'm not sure if that was intentional or if it was just kind of one of those, we just built a robot. Oh wow. Oh, that's a coincidence. I don't know. This movie definitely has one of those moments where when someone's a director, someone that did music for said director in another movie, they bring them back. In this situation, Wes Craven brought back Charles Bernstein, who did the music for Nightmare on Elm Street, and there are some Elm Street-esque moments within the soundtrack, and it definitely has that nostalgic charm. There are some members of the cast that have some fairly well-known names. Kristy Swanson from Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie plays Samantha. We also have Anne Ramsey, Mama Fratelli herself, playing Elvira Parker. We also have Charles Fleischer, the voice of Roger Rabbit, and also the Doctor in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, voicing BB. So that's kind of nice seeing some of those names, especially Charles Fleischer, who was in Nightmare on Elm Street, come back to do another film that Wes Craven is directing. The movie is very simple. The special effects, especially during Anne Ramsey's death scene with the basketball to the head, are very, very entertaining. However, this movie, when it comes to pacing-wise, I feel that it drags on a bit. And when I mention that it's simple, if a movie is simple and it drags out, I'm going to lose interest. Now, if a movie is complex with a lot of different ideas that keeps you on the edge of your chair, and if it drags on for a little bit, that's okay, because sometimes when you're interested in something, and time will fly by. And in this situation, time did not fly by. When I was thinking of a way to describe this film, I couldn't really put my finger on it. However, when I was looking through some reviews, Joe Bob Briggs once said that Deadly Friend is a combination of The Breakfast Club meets Bride of Frankenstein. And quite frankly, he's not wrong. This movie was a bitter pill to swallow because I am a big fan of Wes Craven's work. And this one, I remember watching back in the day and thought it was pretty funny. In retrospect, it didn't age well. And not necessarily about any of the jokes or any of the imagery. It's just the movie did tend to get a little boring at times. And I will still watch it. It will be one of those guilty pleasure movies for me. That being said, I'm going to have to give this one a D+, because I know what they were trying to do, and especially, as we've said before, this was adapted from a book, and usually when you adapt something into a film, it's not always for the best. And for this, man, Wes Craven, wherever you are, I'm so sorry, but I have to give it a D+. That's just how it's going to be. And for those of you that are upset about that, I'm sorry too. Well, we hope you enjoyed this review on Deadly Friend, for better or worse. If you've seen this movie and you agree with some of the things I said, leave a thumbs up. And if not, hey, I get it, because there are some die-hard Wes Craven fans out there that love his movies regardless of what they are. And that's okay, because he made a lot of great things. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, push that little red button and ring the bell for instant updates. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you tomorrow for day 21 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.